This is the 6th overall studio album by, yeah, I'm gonna say this is my favorite band of all time, and it is Porcupine Tree. This is not requested by anyone, but I recently have done this record by Opeth. You know, Opeth is also one of my favorites, but Porcupine Tree slightly beats them, I would say. They're slightly a better band in my opinion. You know, if I'm gonna go into that, Opeth kind of has, you know, the worst records right now, although they're still awesome. But yeah, I mean, they don't are metal anymore, and they still, you know, metal is essential to Opeth because they don't have that metallic edge to them anymore, which they really do, you know, need. Not per se death metal vocals because Michael Ackerfeld cannot really do it anymore. But we still, you know, need some progressive metal element in their music, you know, kind of like a Dream Theater or Tool or Mastodon, something like that. But today we're talking about a band that I like even more than Opeth, which is kind of ridiculous if you think about it, you know, because my love for Opeth is so big. But we're talking about Porcupine Tree, and I have their Lightbulb Sun album. And I chose this record because it was right around the time of Still Alive. It kind of reminds me of Still Alive in a way, you know, because of the red cover in a way. Yeah, you know, this red cover, it reminds me a lot of Still Alive. It was released around the same time, if I didn't said that already. I believe they were working with each other around this time, so that is kind of, you know, great as well. And yeah, probably the biggest thing that reminds me of this album is of Still Alive is that these are kind of the underrated gems in Opeth and Porcupine Tree's discography, because everybody talks about Blackwater Park and, you know, My Armchair Hearse, Ghost Referees, and everybody in Porcupine Tree talks about In Absentia, Deathwing, and Fear of a Blank Planet. Which are all great records. I all love, you know, I basically love every record by both bands because they're my two favorite bands. But I think this is really underrated, you know, because we have so many classic songs on there. We have 10 songs. And this album has just a really nostalgic feel to it. I cannot really explain what I'm feeling towards this album. I think kind of nostalgic. Although I'm not a really long Porcupine Tree fan. I think I know the band now for 6, 7, 8 months, maybe a year. So it's not really that long, but I have scoped out every studio album by them, still have to listen to some EPs and stuff. But we start off with the first song, which is Lightbulb Sun, and this is really, really melancholic stuff. The guitar passages are great. You know, the do 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 do. You know, that part is just amazing, and there's so much melody to it. The acoustics, you know, towards the middle sections are great. When it gets heavier again, you can definitely feel that Porcupine Tree has this, you know, metallic edge to them. They're not. They're probably the most perfect band that is, you know, right on that fringe line of rock / metal. I really loved it about the band since they are right on that fringe line. You know, they're kind of too heavy for a rock band, but they're not heavy enough to be a metal band. So they're kind of in the middle. They have that perfect fringe line to them. And you can definitely hear that in Lightbulb Sun, although this is kind of a more poppier song, but I love that guitar riff. I love the melody in the, you know, in the riffage of Steven Wilson. I just really love, you know, Steven Wilson's guitar playing on there, and Chris Maitland's drumming is great as well. I just love this opening song. It's definitely one of my favorite Porcupine Tree songs, and it is just a perfect opener. What can you say about it? How Is Your Life Today is a really poppy song. It basically has this, you know, piano tone to it. It basically is just a few chords. Steven Wilson playing the piano, I believe, or Richard Barberi. And then Steven Wilson, you know, kind of repeating the title track. He's asking some really thought-provoking, you know, lyrics on there, which are just really deep and really, like I said, thought-provoking. There's not a lot going on in this song. I still really love it, but it's kind of, you know, not a really Porcupine Tree song because it's kind of more poppy. which is really, you know, really represents the later era of Steven Wilson in a way, because his later stuff with, you know, his solo work really got poppy, which I love. Of course, I love pop, so you know, no problem there. Four Chords That Made a Million is the third song, and this is one of the singles. Yeah, and this is, you know, it's kind of a mockery of pop songs. You know, they're just saying four chords that made a million, and it's really ironic as well, because Porcupine Tree is, you know, just repeating the you know, the formula here. They're just repeating the title track over and over, and they're you know, they have this really simplistic tone to them, the dun 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 dun, dun, you know, like they're playing a Ramones song or something like that. They're really, you know, one notey, if you say it like that. They're really repetitive on the song. They have a 4-chord formula to them, I believe, or, you know, they're not gonna go that low. But they're still, you know, mocking pop music that's, you know, that does this. You know, I love that the song does it, but I kind of hate pop songs that, you know, have a 4 chords and are, you know, like that, you know. So I love that, you know, they did the mockery here, but I don't. I think still it's a great song, you know. It's a perfect mockery, but it's, you know, it's not one of my favorites, but I still love it. You know, speaking of songs that I love, She's Moved On, which is the 4th song overall. Yeah, you know, the melody on this track is just tremendous. I really love, you know, that the song later becomes, you know, a mishmash of Chris Maitland's drums, the keyboard passages of Richard Barberi, and, you know, the bass that holds everything together, which doesn't make it an entire mess. You know, and the solo towards, you know, the middle section where Steven Wilson all gets, you know, higher and higher with his guitar is just awesome. And, you know, when he snaps to the chords with those final 2 notes towards the ending, that is just perfect. I just really love that the song ends so highly, you know. It ends with those 2 immortal notes towards the ending, which is just awesome. The 5th song is, yeah, and by the way, She's Moved On is awesome. It's one of my favorites, together with Lightbulb Sun. Then we have The Last Chance to Evacuate Planet Earth Before It Is Recycled. This has a really banjo-like acoustic guitar to it. It is really subtle, as in, you know, it really is a moody song. I really love, you know, the acoustics on this. I really love that the song later becomes only acoustic, with some really awesome subtle, you know, keyboard moments from Richard Barberi, which he, you know, perfectly implements with the acoustics from Steven Wilson. I just really love, you know, that they implement this so perfectly, and the title is awesome. I believe it is about, yeah, I believe Steven Wilson said this on the stage once, that guys, you know, wanted to commit suicide, to, you know, blow up the world or something like that, because it is gonna get destroyed, and they already killed themselves, you know, before the nuclear explosion or something like that. It's really fucked up, but Steven Wilson still talked about it, and I still, you know, endorse it. I still have a lot of respect that he has the balls to make a song about it, which he did, so it's awesome. The Restful Flow is probably the poppiest song on this album. It starts off with this really, you know, mellow and acoustic section, you know, where Steven Wilson is saying that you should not worry, that, you know, everything is gonna be fine. The Restful Flow. Yeah, and this is actually a really rare moment for Steven Wilson, because he's actually writing a happy song here. You know, the Restful Flow, everything is gonna be alright, which is kind of, you know, a happy song. So it's really rare, because Steven Wilson rarely doesn't write, you know, any happy pop music. So there we go. Still love the song though, and it's a rare song, so you gotta love that. Then we get Hatesong, and this is absolutely one of my favorite songs of all time. This is once again mocking the pop scene, once again popping, making fun of, you know, the pop scene about, they're making a mockery of the 4 chords thing that made a million, stuff like that, 4 chords that made a million. But they do it so perfectly here. I mean, the bass is easily the best thing about this entire song. I just love the bass opening, and you know when Richard Barberi, I believe. Yeah, I believe Richard Barberi does the piano, but maybe it's Steven Wilson. Richard Barberi does the synthesizers, Hammond organ, Fender, Rhodes, clavinet, mellotron, and Steven Wilson does the guitars, vocals, piano, mellotron, hammered dulcimer, and the banjo, of course, on the banjo harp production, or the banjo harp on, I believe, Evacuate Planet Earth before it is destroyed. Last chance to evacuate Planet Earth before it is recycled. Yeah, and this song, Hatesong, is just awesome. You know when Steven Wilson goes into the yeah 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 refrain, and he has these really dark lyrics towards the middle section of the song. That is just really awesome to hear. Yeah, and just you know when it gets moodier again, when Steven Wilson plays the piano, I believe, or Richard Barberi, one of the two. Yeah, you know Steven Wilson, of course, but I just really love, you know, the bass and the piano on the song. It is really great, especially you know in the beginning, and it gets heavier towards the ending of the song. So that is, you know, just awesome that they have that. It really is great. It's one of my favorite songs, Hatesong. It's awesome. Check it out if you haven't already. Where We Would Be is a really mellow song. It's primarily, you know, about you know, where we would be if we took other choices, if we took you know, this and that, and yeah, Steven Wilson is just basically saying that what, you know, where are we, where we would be if we didn't make this choice or this choice. He's really thinking about that, and I really appreciate the effort that he's doing right there. I really love the vocal harmonies on here, I believe by Chris Maitland and Steven Wilson. I believe they're both doing vocals. I can look it up, of course. Yeah, Chris Maitland does the backing vocals, so I really love the vocals by both. It really works perfectly on here. It's kind of a poppy song, so if you're more into pop, I would definitely recommend Lightbulb Sun, How's Your Life Today, Four Chords That Made a Million. The Restful Flow is a really poppy song, and Where We Would Be. And then we have the most awesome song on the album, Russia on Ice. This is such a masterpiece, man. I love this song. It's 13 minutes long and 3 seconds. It's one of the longest Porcupine Tree songs ever. I believe besides The Sky Moves Sideways, it is the longest song of Porcupine Tree's discography. Yeah, and of course Anesthetize and Arriving Somewhere But Not Here. Those are the longest songs, together with The Sky Moves Sideways. But Russia on Ice is just such an awesome song, man. I really love the echo, the industrial opening of this song. We have the from Richard Barberi, which sounds just really clear, really great production on it as well. And I really love, you know, the you know, the doomy section from Steven Wilson, which just sounds great on this record. What else is great? Just the entire song, you know, when it goes into these poppy breakdown section, which is just, it sounds so diverse for the record. Once again, you know, it is already such a diverse record, but it just goes further and further into it. Then we have one section where it gets really heavy, you know, and really distorted, where we have the electrics from Steven Wilson and the, you know, just raw bass by Colin Edwin. Just everything is so wild in there. The drums by Chris Maitland and the keyboard playing by Richard Barberi are all really great. And probably what I love most about the song is when it gets moodier again, where you have the bass heavy sections from Colin Edwin. You know, towards the ending of the song. And then at the ending, you know, we get some great passages from Chris Maitland again. And then we actually have a church, you know, a church bell which, you know, rings towards the ending of the song. which is awesome as well. I really love this implement of the song. It really is out of place in a way, but it sounds in place, which is kind of strange. Yeah, Rusty on Ice, it's a masterpiece. It's the best song of the album and I love it. Basically as much as the other songs, but Rusty on Ice is just such an epic, man. It really is. Feel So Low is the last song, and this is also a song that, you know, is a bit similar to where we would be. You know, Steven Wilson is just saying that he has just done tremendous things. He has done some things where he's feeling so low. He felt so low about it. He said, and he's saying this in a really poppy and, you know, really moody way, which sounds kind of depressing but also uplifting at the same time. This is also one of those pop songs, like I said, you know, so if you're into pop, then Feel So Low is definitely one of the better songs for you. Yeah, this is a great closer because it feels kind of like a credit song. You get the epic Rush on Ice, and then you get a kind of credit song which just feels so low. This song is just all moody, you know, no heavy bass like on Hatesong, or no crazy guitar solos like on Shesmovedon. It is just, you know, plain. It is just really melodic. It is just, you know, Steven Wilson and some bass, some piano, I believe, some keyboards by Richard Barberry, and just some really soft percussions by Chesmovedon. Yeah, this is just the perfect closer because it kind of feels like a closing song. It is a credit song, so that is all I can say about it. Yeah, overall, Lightbulb Sun is a tremendous album. I've almost talked about 20 minutes about this album, so I really love it. It's an underrated gem in their discography. You know, Porcupine Tree really is an underrated band, but this is definitely one of their underrated albums. You know, if they're not all underrated, this is definitely one of them. We have K-Scope, which is just a promotional thing, so I can let you show it, of course, but it's not really, you know. It is literally with every K-Scope release, you know, you get these artists, which are, you know, Lighthouse and Polaris and Scintilla, are all under the K-Scope label, so there we go. Blackfield, which is also a Steven Wilson a project, of course, Steven Wilson with Hand Cannot Erase, which is awesome. Yeah, it's not really interesting, you know, just promotion and stuff like that. It's just buying records and stuff like that on the K-Scope label. Then we have the booklets. I haven't checked it out, I believe. Yeah, and if you actually cannot see the kid, you know, on the cover, we actually have here a clear shot of him, you know, of half of his face. So if you were wondering, there we go. We have lyrics of Lightbulb Sun, How's Your Life Today. Everything is written by Wilson, I believe. All tracks by Wilson except Hatesong is written by Edwin and Wilson. Rush on Ice is written by Barberry, Edwin, Maitland, Wilson, so by everyone. Arrangements by Porcupine Tree, so there we go. Then we have Shesmovedon, Last Chance to Evacuate Planet Earth Before It Is Recycled. And the Restful Flow. Yeah, 3 songs. You know, with a really ominous cover. Then we have the band members. We have Steve. Yeah, I have to say it right, because if you guys are here, then this is your right. Right? I'm not sure. Yeah, I believe this is your guys' left. I believe so. Yeah, on the left we have Steven Wilson, and on the right we have Richard Barberry. I believe I'm doing that good, I think. Maybe it is reversed, but something like that. Yeah, you know, credits where credit is due. We have Colin Edwin, who's holding a really, I believe, a really big coin or something like that, or a yellow ball, I don't know. And Chesmovedon is holding that as well. On the left, yeah, right? Yeah, on the left we have Colin Edwin, and on the right we have Chesmovedon. I believe all of the band members are holding that. I believe Wilson and Barbary as well. Oh, it's a Lightbulb Sun, of course. Yeah, the Lightbulb Sun thing. Yeah, you know, it is really funny because I get the idea now and you get that light bulb, you know, above your head, which is kind of a cartoon thing, I think. You know, which happens in cartoons and stuff like that. It's kind of funny, I guess. Hatesong and Where We Would Be, lyrics of that. What the fuck? I believe this is a naked kid, or not naked, but a girl with a white cloth on, if you say it like that. And we have some trees, you know, Porcupine Tree, of course. I'm not sure where that is going, but you know, it's Steven Wilson. He's a weird but genius guy. And then we have, I believe, a baseball glove and a timer. I believe a baseball glove and a timer. I'm not sure. And then we have the backlit, which is, I believe, the Lightbulb Sun, but I'm not sure. Yeah, overall this album is just fantastic. I really cannot say that it has any flaws because in my opinion it is perfect. So for me it is a perfect 10. I really love this entire album. I can let you show, you know, the inside of the fucking jewel, or not jewel case, of the CD, of the booklet. We have the band, Steven Wilson, Chris Maitland. And I believe he shaved his head because he had actually, you know, curls in his hair, long curly hair like me in a bit, in a way. Well, actually I lost the curl because my hair is longer now, but there we go. When I was little I had a lot of curls because, if you say it like that, you know, twisted hair. I had this, you know, when my hair was shorter I actually had that, but I outgrew it, so the curls are standing. You know, are outgrown. Yeah, then we have Richard Barbary right here. You know, if you wanted to know all that information, probably not, but there we go. This is Richard Barbary and this is Colin Edwin. And once again, I think the album artwork is awesome. It really is. In my opinion, it doesn't beat this of course, but it still is, you know, close second to me. So there we go. I'm not sure why Steven Wilson has all these, you know, kids on his album covers, which I think is a bit creepy. But, you know, not in a pedophile way or something like that, but I think he's doing that because it reminds him of his youth. So he feels nostalgic about his album covers. I think that is the thing that he tries to do there. I guess. I'm pretty sure it's not the first one. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, for me it's a perfect 10. You know, all jokes aside, this album is perfect. It is a 10 for me. Let me know what you think about Lightbulb Sun. Lightbulb Sun, I think it is fantastic. Check it out. It is a fantastic record. Yeah, I've been talking for like an hour now about 2 records, so you know, not even listening to them because they're literally imprinted into my brain. But I hope you've enjoyed it. It's not requested, but I love the hell out of Porcupine Tree. Yeah, I actually haven't explained that. You know, if Opeth is requested, I always do Porcupine Tree besides that because I think those bands go perfectly together. You know, the bands are really good friends with each other, so. And I'm both, you know, they're both my favorite bands, so there we go. They just go perfectly with each other, so. I thought to myself, why not do them both, right? But hope you've enjoyed it. Yeah, this is just perfect. I cannot really add something to the review that I haven't said already, so I'm gonna end it there. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. Let me know what you think about Lightbulb Sun. I think it is a fantastic record. It's an underrated gem in their, you know, underrated discography, so go figure. Enjoy, do all the things I just said. Have a nice day and take care.